Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited to share with you one of my favorite skin minimalistic routines, which is perfect if you are struggling with post-vacation sensitive skin, or if you're someone who's going back to school, going back to work, and you want a simple skincare routine that makes your skin happy and allows your makeup to go on like a dream. So let's get right into this video. Started with our minimalistic skincare routine, let's take a look at our morning routine. In my opinion, as an esthetician, a lot of people, unless you're a very sweaty sleeper, you're someone who gets really oily, or you have a specific skin concern or skin type, skin condition, you really don't need a proper morning cleanser unless you want one. For most people, and this is what I do myself, is a nice rinse with water that will remove any of the excess products sitting on the skin from the night before, any dust, and then you can just go on top with your skincare products and make it nice and easy so you can go about your busy morning routine. If you're someone who has a specific skin concern, the first thing that comes to my mind is someone who with very oily skin or someone with acneic skin. You might need a little bit of a treatment cleanser in the morning, and I generally like to recommend something that's going to be easy that you can double duty. So if you're someone who's very oily skin, you want something that's to be able to cut through the oil quickly and effectively. And if you want someone who is acne prone, you want something that's to help clean the pore from the inside out and just help to keep that bacteria at bay, so that way things can stay as clear as possible. One of my favorites, and something I use a lot in my routine just as a preventative step, is the CeraVe Acne Control Cleanser. My trick with this is you want to have a little bit of a longer contact time. You can get benefits from short-term contact, which is when you apply it to your skin, massage in, wipe it off in 30 seconds to a minute. That does have some benefit, but if you want a little bit more, aim for 3 to 5 minutes. And if you're thinking you don't have 3 to 5 minutes in the morning to do a face mask, what I suggest doing is rinsing your face with water, applying this, avoiding the eye area. So kind of go around the brow to the orbital rim. So go from follow the socket line or the socket bone around the eye, avoid inside of that area, but you can apply this like a mask, brush your teeth, because we're supposed to be brushing our teeth for 3 minutes, so knock something else off your morning to-do list. You can either rinse off or jump into the shower, only if you feel you need that step. Most people can move on to their second step, and in the morning, it's so simple. For the most of people, especially if you are a teen starting your very first skincare routine, you really only need the basics. And if you're not struggling with acne or a specific concern where you need a treatment step, most people can get away with a quick splash of water to rinse off the skin, and then you can go into a moisturizing product. And for a lot of people who want to simplify their routine, they want to prep their skin for makeup and just keep everything as simple and streamlined as possible for the overall ease of consistency, find a really beautiful moisturizing sunscreen that works as a moisturizer, a sun protectant, and a makeup prep. One of my longtime favorites is the La Roche-Posay Enthelios Kids Dermo sunscreen. I love these newer eco-friendly packaging, and what I like about this, it is a chemical filter, so you have a very typical North American blend of filters, traditional chemical sunscreens with the inclusion of Mexerol XS and XS, which are two European sunscreen filters. This can sting around my eyes. My eyes are a little bit more sensitive to these more traditional chemical filters, so if it's a really warm sunny day and I'm worried about getting sweaty or oily, I will avoid this around the direct eye area and buffer with something like a more traditional pasty white mineral sunscreen, which will completely dissipate when I put my makeup on. But this works well, and it's fabulous as a body moisturizer, and I love using it as a body moisturizer because it's a really nice glow to the skin that doesn't look greasier. If you're someone who has access to Asian beauty sunscreens, I love East Asian beauty brands from Korea and Japan. One of my favorites I've used right now is the Beauty of Joseon Aquafresh. This is a Korean sunscreen that uses really beautiful, elegant filters, and I find them to be very gentle on the skin. I have rosacea, and like I mentioned just a moment ago, my eyes are very sensitive. Even when I get really oily or I might break a sweat and this is around the eye area, it never burns or stings my eyes. In North America, specifically the United States right now, East Asian sunscreens are a little bit harder to get your hands on, but if you can, this is a really beautiful one. It hydrates the skin, plumps up the skin, and preps your skin so really beautifully for your makeup routine. For the most of people, that is where I would leave your routine for the morning. So let's jump into our simplistic, easy evening routine. In the evening, whether you had just your sunscreen on or sunscreen and makeup, you are going to need a proper cleanser. If you're someone who does have very oily skin or acne prone skin, you could technically go back in with your acne control cleanser. Be very cautious around the size because you don't want to get the active ingredient, which is salicylic acid, in the eye area. That's why I suggest having a secondary cleanser. And this is one of my favorites. I've been through so many bottles of this. My bottle is half full. This is a favorite. This is a CeraVe Hydrating Cleansing Oil. And what I love about this is it's a really nice moisturizing cleanser that breaks down makeup and leaves the skin feeling cleansed but refreshed. It never feels stripped or dry. Even when my skin is feeling incredibly sensitive, this does wonderfully. And I also like that even though in the summer my skin can be more prone to getting a little bit oily, especially the T-zone oil, I never feel greasy after using this. Like, it has enough of a cleaning ability that it still cleanses away grease and oil from the skin, and it doesn't leave you feeling more greasy or oily than you already were. So I love this. I feel like this is a great evening cleanser for all skin types. If you wear a lot of heavy, waterproof, long-lasting makeup, you might find you need to do 2 rounds with this, but for most people, a nice thorough massage into the skin with this cleanser for about a minute to a minute and a half is all you need, and it cleanses away. Since we're not being exposed to the sun at night going to bed, we don't really need the sunscreen. So this is where you would bring in a moisturizer. I have 3 different ones here because I like to share options. If you're someone who has balanced to combination oily skin, I like a lightweight gel cream. One I'm using now, and I love this also during the day under makeup when I just need a little extra boost in addition to the hydration my sunscreen gives, is the Ionic Beta Glucan Daily Moisture Cream. This is a really nice skin nourishing, skin soothing, hydrating moisturizer. It goes on like water and it's gorgeous. Combination oily skin. You could also use this in the cooler months when our skin's more prone to becoming dehydrated from the environmental factors, or if you're someone who's on an acne treatment, you need that little extra moisture. This can work just as beautifully well during the day as in the evening. So that's a great one to have. If you're someone who is kind of in the middle of the road, your skin is what we would call balanced or normal, and it could even lean slightly drier or slightly more oily. I like a nice mid-weight moisturizer, and I love things I can use on my face and body for the ease of application, especially if you're traveling, then you only have to travel with one thing or repurchase one product. With how expensive beauty products have gotten in this economy, the fewer products we have, the better for keeping an eye on our budget. I love the CeraVe moisturizing cream. I have a lot of CeraVe products in this routine. I'm not sponsored. I buy these products again and again and again because for me, my skin, I find them to be very friendly, soothing, and hydrating, and they just work really well all year long. The moisturizing lotion is best for people who are, again, their skin's kind of in the middle of the road. You want a little moisture, but you don't want anything too heavy. If you are on the more dry, dehydrated skin, they also make a moisturizing cream that comes in a tub. I love that, especially in the winter when I am more prone to my eczema breakouts and skin flares. For me right now, the heavy duty moisturizer I'm using in the evening is more of an expensive product, but it is gorgeous and I love it. This is from a Korean beauty brand called Astora. This is the Autobarrier 365 moisturizing lotion. There's also a cream version. I find this to be heavier than the CeraVe moisturizing cream, and when I say heavy, it doesn't feel suffocating on the skin. Your skin feels beautifully cocooned and nourished, almost like you put a really nourishing veil over the skin. It's gorgeous. Little heavy for me and my personal preferences under makeup. They also make a cream version, which I've seen a lot of people review and love. This is a little bit more expensive. Here in Canada, it retails for about $45. I've seen in the US, you can now get this on Amazon.com as well as Sephora. So it's accessible in the States as well, and you don't have to pay any extra fees from shipping from internationally. Really gorgeous, really great if you need like an SOS overnight recovery for your skin. If you're someone who has a concern or you want to up your simple cleanse, sunscreen, cleanse, moisturize routine, do you want to add a skin treatment because you have a concern? I like to think about concerns and think about what is your primary concern. When you look in the mirror, what is your biggest concern? A lot of people, when I'm thinking about back to school range, the number one thing I think about is either sensitivity or acne. So if you're someone who has sensitivity, focus on maintaining and nourishing your moisture barrier. That's when something like your Stora or CeraVe moisturizer will come in handy. So be consistent. If your big concern is sensitivity, moisture, maintaining your barrier with a simple, simplistic routine, most people will find relief in a week, maybe 2 weeks. But for full barrier repair, give your skin at least a full skin cycle, which is 28 days or 4 to 6 weeks. That's a nice buffer to feel those initial benefits as far as moisturizing and balancing your skin. If you're someone who is experiencing breakouts and you want a treatment that you can use to gently exfoliate the skin overnight, and you would only use this 2, maybe 3 times a week. One I love is also from CeraVe. This is the Acne Control Gel. It is a little bit more of a viscous gel. This uses a blend of alpha hydroxy acids, glycolic acid, and lactic acid, as well as beta hydroxy acid with salicylic acid. The beta hydroxy acid is going to cut through the oily layer on the skin, help cleanse and clean out the inside of the pore, while your alpha hydroxy acids are going to work on top the surface of the skin to smooth it out. That being said, if you have more normal to even dry skin, you could use this, but again, be cautious. Once a week to start with, and if you handle it well, then you could increase to maybe 2 or 3 times a week. When you're using exfoliant, you might again notice some initial return on investment of your usage within 4 to 6 weeks, but for these type of products, I like to give yourself almost 12 weeks to see a smoother base, to see subtle brightening. Skincare is a long-term journey. A lot of people say you'll see results in 7 days. Normally that's to be superficial plumping from your products. Skin is dead. What we're seeing is a dead layer of skin, and then every 28 days we get the top layer soft, and you have a bright, fresh base underneath. So normally to see noticeable changes, it takes about 3 skin cycles. So 28 days, if we're going to multiply that, you're looking at 12 weeks. So, and as you get older, it takes a little bit longer. That 28-day cycle can take 40 days. So just be mindful, give yourself patience. If you really want to know if your product's working, take a picture, take a selfie in a well-lit place that's consistent. I normally do it in my washroom. That way, the same light there today, I can have it again in a few weeks. So I take another picture and you can really compare. If you see a noticeable change, then that could be your sign to continue using the products. If you don't see something, then you can explore your options for an alternative product. Consistency is key. It's a long-term goal. It's not a quick fix. There are some products that will offer a little bit quicker results, but in general, you want to look for a product that you are going to be able to be consistent with for the long term to get the best results. If you're someone who is just coming back from summer vacation, maybe your skin tone feels a little red, a little ruddy, maybe you've got some dark spots, some modeling, or your skin tone just doesn't feel as vibrant, or you want to help halt any of that from coming to the surface, I love a good pigment inhibiting brightening serum. One I'm using and loving, Skin 1004 or 1004 Madagascar Centella Tone Brightening Capsule. This is a really nice soothing and brightening. You have Centella asiatica, which is going to help soothe the skin. You have tranexamic acid, niacinamide. So it's a really beautiful blend of powerhouse ingredients to help brighten and balance out the tone. With your tone brightening products, it takes much longer, typically speaking. So for me, I started working tranexamic acid and these brightening products into my skincare routine consistently the end of last year. So go back to like November, maybe even December. I can honestly say I didn't really start appreciating benefits until June, July of this year. So that was 6-7 months after I started using them. So it's a slow burn, very gradual process, but consistency is key. And again, take track, keep those pictures of yourself so that way you can look back and reflect. Because if you're just using a product day in, day out, we see ourselves multiple times a day in the mirror and we can become almost blinded what we're seeing because changes are so gradual. But when you can see what you look like today from 6 months ago, it can make such a big difference. And then you can really see if your investment is paying off as far as your goals with your skincare routine. If you're someone who doesn't have any concerns like with brightening, you just want your skin to look as good as possible for as long long as possible, and you want a well-rounded powerhouse. I love looking for an antioxidant-rich serum. So I love the classic vitamin C. A lot of people like to recommend your more mainstream vitamin C's like L-ascorbic acid, which are kind of like the gold standard, but we do have some different types of vitamin C's and very different forms of the ingredient, which can be a little bit easier for sensitive skin to handle. I love one from the Korean beauty brand Goodall. This is the Green Tangerine Dark Spot Vitamin C Serum. This uses a more gentle form of vitamin C. It still gives our skin that antioxidant protection, but it also helps to brighten and plump the skin. And this also adds a really beautiful tackiness to the skin, which makes it act like one of the makeup gripping primers. I love this. It is, again, very much a slow burn, gradual product. This has been in and out of my routine for about the last 2 years now, and I continue to go back to it. This is a newer bottle. You can see I'm just getting started, and I really, really love this. And I love just a really nice, easy, simple to use serum that's going to play into the overall goals I have for my skin. Now, if you want an evening option, that is when you can work in a retinoid. So again, you're going to start with 1 night a week, see how it does. The following week, 2 nights a week, see how you do, and then slowly progress to 3, 4, 5, 6. Your aim is to use it 5 to 7 nights a week ideally, but you want to slowly work into that. There's a few that I really like. Currently, I am using Retin-A, which is a prescription I received from my dermatologist. But if you want a great, affordable product, I love the one from Serums. I don't remember the exact name. They have a white and green retinoid from their acne control line that has a little bit more of a gel consistency. So if you're more on that balanced or normal combination oily, that's a great one. If you want something a little bit richer, a little bit more creamy, I'm a huge fan of the CeraVe Retinol Serum in the white and purple, which is like their well-aging line. Really beautiful, but a little bit more hydrating and creamy serum. Retinoids and vitamin C products, these are two very tricky products. When you first start using, especially retinoid, in the first 4 to 6 weeks, some people experience what we call a purge cycle, which you might notice your skin breaking out a little bit more. And what we call a purge cycle is retinoids are great at speeding up the natural shedding cycle. So like I mentioned earlier, it's normally gonna be about 28 days. When you use a retinoid, it can help speed that up just a little bit. So you might notice that eventually some of the stuff that's lower down the skin might come to the surface a little bit sooner, but after you get to that initial wave, things will start getting better and better and better. Typically with retinoids, they are really, really slow to have a noticeable effect. Again, some people notice results a lot quicker. For me, it takes at least 9 to 12 months of consistent use to really see benefits with either the retinoid or your vitamin C serums. With vitamin C serums, you will get that initial boost of hydration, and most vitamin C's will add a little bit of a glow boost thanks to the ingredients in the different formulations. So you'll get a little bit of glow. Most of it's gonna be a cosmetic effect from the ingredients used, but your more long-term effects will take 9, 12, or longer. So today's video is overall pretty short. A minimalistic skincare routine doesn't have to be an elaborate process, but with me being me, when I finish off my skincare routine, I always miss on my fragrance for the day. So just for some fun, I want to share with you some really beautiful back to school, back to work fragrances at 3 different price points that will just keep you smelling beautiful any time of year, any time of day. For my most affordable fragrances, I love a fresh, slightly creamy scent. And one of my longtime favorites is Bath & Body Works Sweet Pea. This is a really beautiful, fresh floral. It just smells like clean shampoo or body wash, but it doesn't have the creaminess, and the staying power isn't that great. But if you like this and you want something that lasts a little bit longer, I suggest trying out Butterfly. Butterfly, it has a very similar note, but you do have a little bit more fruitiness, more creaminess, so it tends to work a little bit better on the skin as the temperatures get cooler and it lasts a little bit longer. If you want to spend a little bit more money, then may I recommend to you Ariana Grande's Cloud. I love this. I don't like the big plastic cloud base it comes in, so I just have the bottle. This gained a lot of popularity because a lot of people felt like this smelled similar to the Maison Francis Kurkdjian Baccarat Rouge 540. I can tell you, I have bought both the regular version and the extrait version. They are so expensive and they don't smell great on my skin. That's why I've returned them. Ariana Grande's Cloud though, for me, this does smell beautiful. It smells great all day. It doesn't have this off smell on my skin like Baccarat Rouge 540 did. And it's so much more affordable. The large bottle here in Canada is going to be like $100. I think if you're in the US, it's closer to $80, where the Baccarat Rouge 540 for it's either a 50 or 100 ml bottle is going to be around $450 here in Canada. Like I said, I returned mine because it didn't work for me, and I much prefer the Cloud. It has a nice creamy sweetness to you. It is coconut creamy sponge sugar. I love it, and I love how this lasts on my skin. If you're someone who wants a nice fluffy scent that is inoffensive, but it's so uplifting and happy, it can take you from the warmer months to the cooler months, and you don't mind to indulge and splurge on a fragrance, may I introduce you to the Casa Mirati line by Xerjoff. This is one of my favorites, Dama Bianca. This is like a tropical vacation vanilla. So pretty. This is more of a fruity, light, breezy vanilla. It lasts all day. If you spray it in your clothes, it will last 2 weeks. I had a jacket I sprayed it on back in the spring, and until I washed it, which was like 2 weeks later, I could still smell it, and it smells so good. This is gonna be a blend of violet, kumquat, and vanilla, and a heap of other ingredients, but those are the three mains. So you creamy vanilla, a little bit of a fruitiness, and a soft powderiness that keeps it lasting and close to the skin, but you can still smell it, and it's a huge compliment getter. I love this so much. That is a little bit of fun for the video. Everything I'm wearing will be listed in the description box down below. On my cheeks though, just want to share, I saw a Lisa Eldridge short where she blended together her liquid illuminator and one of her lipsticks, and I've been doing that with all of my different lipsticks. So I'm using Pink Moon Highlight, and the lipstick I am wearing today is the Luxuriously Lucent in Rose Official. So here it is on the lips and blended with the highlight on the cheeks. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today, and let me know, what are some of your favorite skin minimalistic, skin essential steps, or your back to school, back to work routine? What are your non-negotiables? If you're running out of the door and you need something very quick, what are the steps that you need to take to look and feel your best all day long? Until we see each other again, thank you again for spending your time with me today, and until we see each other again, I hope you're taking care of yourself wherever it is you are in the world. Bye y'all.